faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see mainly sunny skies, and it will be breezy. The afternoon high around 67. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and light winds, a low near 57. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds. The afternoon high around 67. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station. If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey volleybalfans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Plus, Koppel has over $10,500 off list on other select new models. Our pre-owned truck lot is full of late model low gyms as well. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with a roof credit, 0% is standalone.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown! 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
Demorne Pierson-El.
Only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
All right, welcome in. Don't Punt Hour. Here's on to the ones and twos. As always, you guys can join in. 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. You can also put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. Going solo. In the meantime, we should have Demorne Pierson-El, the co-host, as always, joining me very shortly. And when he does, we're going to talk some Husker football, but we'll get things started off there. So obviously, Tuesday, today, you had the Husker official Nebraska Pro Day. So I'm going to talk to DPE a little bit about that. A lot of the guys tested well that went to the combine, so there wasn't a whole lot of need or reason for those guys to test again. But it is good stories like guys like MJ Sherman, who unfortunately through injuries hasn't really been able to showcase anything of what they can do as of late. He apparently tested pretty well there as well. With that being said, I do see Demorne Pierson-El joining the stream, so we'll bring him in here. Demorne Pierson-El, how's it going on a Tuesday night?
It's going pretty good. Not too bad. Another day closer to this March Madness.
Absolutely. And before we talk more March Madness as we did yesterday, let's talk Husker Football Pro Day. We'll talk about some of the individual guys, but what's that like for you when you were going through that Pro Day, and what's the real goal of those Pro Days?
It's a test. It's an assessment. It's kind of, your report card, your stamp to some of these some of these pro organizations coming to see you. It's a nerve-wracking day, but it's kind of one of those things you've been kind of training for it. You're confident in what you can do, and some of the ones that you hopefully test better on pro day. Actually, your jitters are going and everything like that. But it's like I said, it's that last quarter grade on your report card that will get submitted. And, over the next month and a half, hopefully, you get a phone call, whether that's, drafted or undrafted, either or, you just hope you get an opportunity.
Yeah. And, you'll see guys like, as I mentioned earlier, before you hopped on here, like guys like MJ Sherman, who just haven't had opportunities at all to really showcase what they have. Apparently he tested pretty well today at the Nebraska Pro Day. So it's good to see stories like that. Are there any players that come to mind that you remember back when you were playing that maybe you weren't getting the looks they were, or even invites to the combine, that helped move their stock up, or at least get that phone call that you're talking about because of that Nebraska Pro Day?
I know wide receiver wise, Alonzo Moore. He was a freakish athlete. He was fast. He was a lot faster than what what the tick kind of showed. Once he kind of got his long stride kind of going, he would take off. Zaire Anderson, Josh Mitchell. Zaire went to win a Super Bowl with the Broncos. He went undrafted. I'm trying to think who else had huge pro days that I can really remember.
I think in recent years, guys like Vokalek have done a lot on their
For
pro
sure.
days.
For
Just
sure.
continuing to showcase the consistency that they're bringing.
Absolutely. I'm trying. I know Stan went to the combine, but I mean, it's still certain things that you can do better at your actual pro day. Who's a running back?
See, a lot of those guys, I can't. Unfortunately, like a lot of the guys I've been watching, more so the guys that made it to the combine, the pro day stuff is like a lot of the guys that I think of have not necessarily get drafted, but they get that phone call and they're at least finding themselves in some of those 2 weeks. What do you call them? Those mini camps before the actual season starts.
I mean, again, like people. Pro day is the tangibles. Okay, you have you have high value, you have a high ceiling, you move well. They kind of go back and reevaluate, the film and everything like that. And then even if it's after the draft or whatnot, they might have picked an undrafted free agent and might have thought he looked better or whatnot, and all of a sudden he doesn't really pan out to what they thought, and then the next person up that they really like would be you themselves. So like I said, this time is so crucial. Nothing is too big or too small or anything because it's an evaluation.
Any players on this roster you think might shine through the cracks here a little bit with this
Nash.
I was going to say, reportedly did fantastic for himself out there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of teams were probably shocked that he wasn't at the combine, but a lot of people I would imagine probably know his name, know what he brings to the table and everything like that. He's definitely, I think, going to be a hot commodity.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where I'm sure there's some scouts, at the combine that were kind of pissed because that vote had been pretty close. Where there's probably quite a few coaches and scouts that wanted to see him there to test him out one more time, and there's just enough apparently not to want him there because I can't remember. You got to get how many invites?
So you got to have 7 teams request for you to be there.
Yeah, so you got to get 7 teams.
And it's you get 6 is just like you just have to have 7 people. Not to say that other teams might have not been interested in him or anything like that, but 7 kind of gets you there.
Yeah, and a lot of those too depends on where you're going to fall, depending on if they want to go ahead and put that 7th one in there. All right. That being said, pro day, I'm not sure how much left they're added in there. There's obviously some guys that didn't necessarily need to do any more testing that kind of sat out. They've kind of talked to Fedoni about that. He's like, what to put out there. There's, I could go out there and try to do it all again, but I think that
no reason to it. I went to the combine and went through all of that. Fedoni just showed up being a good teammate and ran routes. Again, they just another opportunity, especially for somebody like Fedoni, for him to be more healthy, for him to actually look everybody be a lot closer up and in person on the actual field to run around and people to see things and whatnot. So it's just, again, it gives teams another opportunity to be like, man, I really like him, let's cut this tape back on, like let's see what we can do here.
Yeah, his biggest thing, I imagine, just the injury history is probably more teams, and that's just an unfortunate reality that's always going to be. So again, especially for him, you go put yourself out there, even if you have the most minor of rolling your ankles, like it's just going to hurt your stock so much. So definitely makes sense for a guy like him. And then, as you can imagine, guys like Ty Robinson, no, the tape looks good for him.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything. He could have came out there in sandals and somebody would still liked him. Like he's fine. Tommy, it's kind of that's what it is.
And then I did notice there's a lot of players that came back for pro day, even guys like Grant Bricks, who transferred out of here, and you saw quite a few players that transferred out and then they still came back for pro day. When it comes to Nebraska's atmosphere in their pro days, is there anything about it that's unique from others, or is that just business as usual anywhere you go?
I wouldn't say necessarily something unique. I mean, I feel like Nebraska has always opened its doors to former athletes. I remember a few times where, people had come and retested just to, hey, look, you can only run the 40. They at least gave you that opportunity. Some other places, former athletes, can't, participate. Like your time is kind of done type situation. So I think that was, something that I would say would be pretty cool. And I don't want to say different, but I think, Nebraska always, take care of its home athletes, regardless if you do leave or whatever. It's no animosity or anything like that. And it's always family. It's not, too big or separating stuff and everything like that. So, I mean, that's the biggest part. And that's what you want, coming back to a place where you spent a lot of time, put your body on the line and, got a degree out of things.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe not make it unique, but a box to check off that is certainly a want to if you're going to be, one of those universities that people actually respect. Looking at guys, that are going to, since we're kind of talking about the pro day, let's talk about some of the younger guys here. I know we've talked about it before. Just thinking of some other guys. We haven't talked about Heinrich Harburg at all. He's a little bit interesting. Some people are optimistic, really optimistic on what he can be, and other people are just the complete polar opposite and really think, if he's good, it's still going to be just a hell of a time for him to get suited at that new position. When it comes to Heinrich Harburg, especially with some of the transfer stuff we're seeing, how much pressure is on his shoulders, and then, how optimistic are you that he can deliver?
Within this offense, with what's being said, with Dana holding everybody and breaking down certain things and whatnot, I don't feel like necessarily the expectation is high. Like, you're not expecting him to go out there and, be like the Tyler Warren kid. Like, you're not expecting, that from him. You know what I mean? But when the ball is in your hand, lean forward, get you a couple yards. He's a big enough body to affect something in the run game. He can throw the ball. You can have a couple trickery plays in there. I think he's a gamer. He's a baller enough to where whatever situation you kind of put him in, he's going to make the best out of it. Now, finding out what routes he might, do better at and everything like that, or, scheming to certain things, because, he can run away from some people. He is, a freakish of an athlete, but, you're not going to spread him out wide like Darren Waller type situation. So it's just kind of figuring out what are his strengths within the offense. What can you kind of tailor? What can you add to his toolbox and kind of exploit that? Because, I mean, for some matchups, he can be a nightmare matchups. If you catch a smaller safety, or if you catch, a strong safety that isn't really strong in coverage and everything like that, he's an athlete enough to where he can run by him. He can run basics, he can run overs, he can run, seam routes, he can run corner routes. There's different positions that you can get him the ball. So I'm not expecting him to flat out be a burner. I'm not expecting him to be I wouldn't say a huge game changer, or, a first round grade. Right. Could it happen? Potentially. I'm not going to lower his ceiling and everything like that, but you're also paying guys on the outside. You're also paying the quarterback to do things and everything like that. So the ball has to get around, and I'm not saying I don't think that's the first place or second place like it will go.
Yeah, it's funny that you said Warren. You mentioned him. Like, I totally agree with you, but I think that, I'd say very small percentage, but there's like a group of people that I think he can be that Warren type of guy. That's way too much in my eyes. He just needs to be productive, especially when you look at the tight ends that we've had in Borkshire and Fedoni.
Ethan Carter. I mean, you can go back
we actually haven't been asking those guys to be the superstars on the offense anyways. We want more production out of there, but a guy like Heinrich Harburg, I'll just be curious to see how they use him. He does seem like he is faster than I think most people anticipate.
For sure.
Not so much side to side. It's more just dead straight away. So maybe you got some opportunities in there.
Stretching the field. You can put him in a 3 wide receiver set. Or you can put him on the backside. On F sneaks or Y sneaks, and to where he'll get lost, kind of blocking down and explode out, and you're on the backside one-on-one with, the backside or front side linebacker or backside linebacker. That's a mismatch. He will likely, win. So I think Dana's going to do a good job at putting him in positions to win. That intermediate level. I wouldn't really say a deep threat. Not to say that he can't. It's just I'm just not. Again, you brought in dudes for that. You got 17 in the middle to stretch the field like that. Like that's not his game. It's going to be short yardage. If you want a jet sweep around or whatnot, or a jet sweep turn into a double pass type situations to kind of keep a wrinkle in things. So I don't, like I said, I don't think it's going to be the offense is going through but short yardage, when easy gimmies, if he can run quick outs real quick, get the ball, turn up and, turn a 5-yard route to a 15-yard gain or something like that, or a 20-yard to take it to the house, you'll take that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I like him too. I think he's good enough, especially in that short area where I think he might be one of those guys. It's all going to depend on how well he transforms into that role. But we've seen enough at quarterback. Like he's good at breaking tackles. He might be able to break a easy one, gain 5-10 more yards. To your point, don't see him so much in the deep shot plays, unless it's predominantly set up ahead of time when they're just reading what the defense is doing and finding out later. It's like, okay, we can catch them with their pants down eventually if we keep running this play and eventually send Harburg out deep. What's the biggest thing he's going to have to do though? For me, I'm not, the easy one's blocking, right? I just haven't really seen it since he was originally at that position. And even then I wasn't necessarily seeing him on Saturdays.
I think the biggest thing is just, getting he's been in 2 rooms. He's had 2 different coaches and everything, or 3 different coaches with OCs, QB coaches and everything like that. It's just, understanding stability and like, okay, your feet are here. You're in this room consistently and just adding to that. He's a strong, athletic kid. I'm not afraid of, I don't have any concerns with him being lined up out wide and going up, and catching the ball. I mean, we've seen him dunk, it being a dunk contest. So it's just, he understands fronts. He understands coverages. At quarterback, you got to play that. So not worried about that. There are going to be certain schemes where you might, have to fight some of those monsters, from Ohio State, from Penn State, or other, top universities like that or whatnot. I think it's just kind of not letting too much of his mind and being pulled everywhere, being over here and over here, kind of just simpling things and understand, what he actually brings to the table, understanding that value and excelling at that. I think that's not going to be hard, but he has a lot of noise that's been going on. 1 year is this, 1 year is that. He's always going to get questions and things. Yeah. He will always get, compared to how he would do things versus, Raiola will and everything like that. So it's going to be a constant battle mentally outside of, the football stuff that people are going to ask and kind of want to pry things. So just understanding where he's at, where his position is, what he brings, what his value is, and staying right there and excelling with that.
Yeah, it's probably the best way to put it. I mean, that guy's had how much information poured into his skull about what his role is going to be that year, or even that half of the season. We've seen that guy get moved around quite a bit. So I think that's probably the best thing he can do is, like, I don't doubt his football IQ. I almost need you to dumb it down. Cut out the stuff that you don't necessarily need anymore. And can you lock in on, to your point, your strengths? Like, what are the things that you can really excel at that are going to help move this program forward? Because right now he's just going to have a lot of skills he's not going to need this upcoming season, especially if he's going to be more of that just tight end position. I'm sure they'll roll in some trick plays, but
for sure,
like you said, it's not going to be like Warren, where he's
going
to be.
It's not. He's not going to line up at center and take off down the middle of the field. Now, can he possibly do it? I'm not. Like I said, I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm just saying it's. With Penn State, he was their number 1 target. So,
I was going to say, hopefully we're not in that position. Penn State needed him to do everything.
For sure. And I think, with him, like I said, when I say it's a different situation of understanding, where your feet are and whatnot, like, don't be surprised if the media goes to him. Well, what do you think, the quarterback position could have do well, because you've been in that room and understand things. So that's what I mean by, muddying up things into where it's going to get annoying to him. I'm pretty sure. And this is just an assumption, from the outside looking in,
I'm sure
of understanding, how the media can get and people, want to pull things apart of just, people pulling him in different directions and everything like that. But still, understanding you are where you feed at, and that's in the tight end room, understanding, what your value, what you can add to that, and, continue to stack days with that, continue to, let that be, your best days ahead of you, not necessarily, behind you.
Yeah, luckily he does got some like good PR training because we've already heard. I couldn't give you the word for word, but we've already heard enough questions about him and Raiola. After he already moved from that position.
That's something. It's something easy. It's a gimme. Not to say it's not going to do anything from them, but people get tired of hearing the same thing and asking the same thing, and it's like, man, look, I'm not in that room anymore. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what I would do because I'm not in that situation. I got to block, this 9 tech.
Yeah. Oh, and then that's pretty much all it ever comes down to. Is like, yeah, he's great. He's not. He's just says good things about his teammate, which you'd hope for.
For sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. He's just a unique player to watch. Ironically, if he is like a Warren type of guy, that means Nebraska football is in a very bad spot if we're asking him to be that type of guy. But it'd be interesting. Just another position group to kind of keep your eye on. That being said, a few minutes left here. So Nebraska football, top 25 transfer portal class, top 25 high school recruiting class as well. This year 3 just keeps building up into, okay, here's all the reasons why it's unacceptable to not win 8 games. When you see a top 25 transfer class, top 25 high school recruiting class, I think, yeah, it's a good thing, direction, especially with the high school class. But, how much does that add to your expectations for this upcoming season?
They can hop out of the transfer portal at any point in time. Yeah, so, I mean, I like, that's fine. I mean, I'm looking at it like, like that's clickbait. You know what I mean? Like, is it good? Yeah, okay. Like, pat on your back. But to me, and I'm glad you're getting the respect. I'm glad, people think, you are getting the right moves and everything like that. But, the roster can look completely different from now to fall camp. So who's to say, that class might not come, who's going to redshirt or whatever. So, yes, it's good to have that, but you won't really know until, over the next 2 years what, that number or that rankage, will really be. And so, yeah, it's something I guess you can chirp about. But I mean, in today's age, you can be here 1 minute and somebody can offer you some more money and you out the next. So I'm not too concerned about, the classes coming in because, you can make whatever numbers up to fit whatever narrative you need.
Yeah, and to your point, that door is going to open again in the spring here really quick.
Yeah.
They're going to have that opportunity. And who knows, circling back to Harburg, is there another tight end that walks into the room that he's got to compete against? And then all of a sudden, it's a different conversation once again. And, we say it all the time. That's just the reality of college sports now. It does kind of suck. I will say, like, watching March Madness in particular is bizarre because the team will go out and that guy hits the portal the next day. It's like no remorse. Like, while they're out celebrating the offseason in Cancun, he's like already calling teammates on the beach. So, or not teammates, other coaches.
Yeah.
And then even coaches getting talked to about leaving their job, which has kind of always been a thing. But when it's this widespread with the players too, it's just,
it's not, it's making a bad mix. I know these coaches probably don't get enough. They already don't get enough sleep. They already, going bald. I'm not, pointing at any coaches or anything like that, but they go through a lot. And then on top of that, you add in one moment, you could have a kid situated and then in a drop of a dime, hey coach, I'm not feeling this. I'm out. What? Yeah. Like, so it's a different beast. It's a different game. And, it's taken away of some of the great things that made college football. And I'm not saying they're necessarily wrong because I do think, athletes do deserve the freedom of certain things, but you can put limitations on stuff to where it's not just, a free for all and a bidding war with things.
Yeah. And that's like the fair point that everybody's, if everybody would just like stop yelling at each other and be reasonable, I think the whole point is like, we just need some infrastructure around it. Now, I don't think I had never heard anybody that really says anymore, we shouldn't pay the athletes. And I've never really heard anybody, saying the scholarship is the payment. Like, yes, that's part of the argument, but I don't think anybody has a problem with the athletes getting the cut of the check. The problem is, and I'll say it with my chest, it's like the agents are out of control. I think if I had to take a stab at
they see an opportunity to seize things, and they making the best out of it.
Yeah, there's no rules around it. Why wouldn't
there should be some type of stipulations to where the university can vet people even more, or you have to go through. With the NFL, you have to be a certified NFL PA agent. Like, you have to be certified through the players associations to even be qualified for certain things. If not, you're not doing that. You can't negotiate no deals regardless of we want this person. Now it don't go like that.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see down the road? Because I just have a hard time believing this NIL stuff's going to get cleaned up anytime soon. I'd give it maybe 5 more years. Do you think 5 years down the road we're going to see some schools with some serious trouble, legal problems because the money they promised and don't have anymore?
Absolutely. We've seen schools get in trouble for players getting tattoos for free, giving merchandise. Menzel coming out making a whole thing, and yeah, absolutely. If they were getting in trouble for stuff like this, and now it's kind of on the front end, you're about to see a different type of bad plays and bad calls, and we've already seen it. The Florida quarterback situation, where he signed for whatever, or was agreed upon for whatever millions, and they reneged the deal on things and everything like that. So it's going to be sad to see exactly what comes out of it, because you're taking advantages of kids at the end of the day. I don't care what anybody says. They're 17 to 23-year-olds.
Yeah, the agents are going to be a lot better at business than the 17-year-old. That's why there's got to be certain rules and protections. It's one thing when you're an NFL player and you're officially an adult. Even then, some of those rookies, they're young as hell too. But the college kids in particular, it's just sometimes outrageous. With that being said, though, we do got to go ahead, throw it to our first break here. Don't Punt Hour. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. We'll join you on the other side.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with the roof credit, 0% is standalone.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service. But it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free. So visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
LES wants your feedback. Help shape your electric utilities direction and priorities by taking an anonymous online survey. Make your voice heard before the survey closes on April 30th at les.com/survey.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves to live a pain-free and active life. Whether it's neck pain, shoulder pain, or lower back pain, Lincoln Family Chiropractic specializes in customized care for every patient to promote faster healing, allowing you to get back to an optimal life. Lincoln Family Chiropractic's team specializes in treatments such as dry needling, cupping therapy, and traditional adjustments. Give Lincoln Family Chiropractic a call today, 402-484-5166. Visit them online at lincolnfamilychiro.com or in person, 1 block south of 70th and 8th Street in Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Early break.
All I can still picture is him talking to Bill Murray's son. And that was one of my, I could just see him. Hey, listen, your dad was awesome in stripes, but you need to shuddy. You need to shuddy.
Shut your mouth,
Shuddy.
Mr. Murray.
Yes, your dad was incredible. And what about Bob? Just stop.
I've never heard shuddy before.
Hey, I love Groundhog.
I'm going with that now forever.
I love
With Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Don't Punt Hour, segment number 2. DeMornay Pierson-El, the co-host, is always joining me. You guys are always welcome to join in as well. DeMornay Pierson-El, I bring some somewhat breaking news here on this segment. We got a new look for the for Pinnacle Bank Arena Court. It's been through a few iterations. And before we get any of the feedback, before I let you know what I think of it, I'll get your thoughts on it. So this got dropped. Troy Dannon off Twitter. That is the new court design for PBA this upcoming season. DeMornay Pierson-El, your thoughts? And I think either you got yourself muted, I think.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
That was quick.
It just sometimes you can do too much, and I just feel like it kind of is. You could have put the state in there in the middle, and that would have made it look better. Or you could have just kept Herbie in there, and that would have been fine. But that's a lot going on.
That's crazy take. Awful take from DeMornay Pierson-El.
I'm just saying.
I do say so myself. For all those listening in the radio, so they brought the Nebraska State logo where it's kind of faded back. That is now in the center court again. No longer is
I like that. I like that piece.
No longer is it the Big N logo in the middle. So instead, you got that faint Nebraska outline, and then you got the new Herbie Husker, the basketball version, Herbie Husker in the dead center for the logo. I don't mind it. I like it a lot more. The Herbie logo. I'm up to debate on that one. I love the state. I do like the state line.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's the Herbie that has me a little irritated. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie.
This might get me kicked out of Nebraska and just sports radio altogether. The Herbie Husker logo in particular, I mean, where are you at with that logo? It's iconic, but I will never change it, and I don't even think we should.
I mean, you got vintage. Sometimes you got to, bring things back to go out in style, do different things or whatnot. It could be marketing situations, to boost the sell of things. People might not have a lot, the blonde hair. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, it's all right. I'm not gonna say, it's variations of something. It's not terrible.
Yeah, again, I'm on the camp. Like, I don't think we could ever really change it. It's one of those things where even if you're not necessarily in love with it, I think changing it would just do so much damage. It'd be stupid to even try to.
I was just so used to the darker hair one. It's just kind of like, and then the hundreds and thousands of Nebraska fans, might just be more used to and comfortable with that one because I was at a different time. So, I mean, it's not me personally. Either way, it's all Nebraska. It's all love. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I guess that's the Nebraska look. Blue eyes, blonde hair, and something like that. I never fully understood the change to go back to the old school. I don't hate it or love it, but interesting. I'll ask you this: upgrade or downgrade? You don't have to love it, but do you consider it an upgrade or a downgrade?
Is it a downgrade when you bring back vintage things though?
I think it's an upgrade, even with the Herbie Husker on there.
The court?
Yeah, the old court was boring. There's nothing going on to it. I could have designed that one. Anytime where I can go on there and design it myself, you failed.
I mean, they added some stuff to it, so I would say it's an upgrade. I wouldn't say by a whole lot of much, but I mean, it's an upgrade.
Bringing the Nebraska faded background back.
I like that. That part was fine, and then it's just her being in the middle of it. I was just kind of like, that might be doing a little too much.
What I would like, maybe this is what they had before. You bring in the Nebraska faded background and just put the N small in the middle.
That would be fine. Simple, simple things, gets the job done too. You don't got to do too much.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not terrible. I just, it's a lot going on there. That's all I think.
It's not, I wouldn't say. Well, we do got unknown texter where the image is posted. You can find him on the stream. Otherwise, if you go on X, I believe Troy Dannon even was the guy who tweeted it out. Let me get my facts straight here. Yeah, just go to Troy Dannon on Twitter. For anybody who's curious what we're talking about on that court, the new switch up on what it's going to be. Troy Dannon did tweet that out. Like I said, I do think it's an upgrade. Last year was just such a boring court. And again, I always go, if I can design it, I don't think it's great. The most thing I could see where you get crazy with it is maybe you change the interior of the 3-point line. But even then, that's pretty minor. Otherwise, I think it is an upgrade, which is great to see. Hopefully the product on the court reflects that, which brings us back to Husker men's basketball, possibly looking at Sanford becoming a Husker out of Iowa, the 3-point shooter who devastated us a couple of times, where he doesn't do anything for an entire half. And then the second half comes around, he drops 20 plus on your head. Getting a guy like that, and you still have Connor Season's back for another year, correct?
Yes.
So you'd have two lethal 3-point shooters. Getting a guy like that, again, plenty of time.
I think it moves the needle. You got somebody you got another person to push your other 3-point shooter. Like you're gonna have to be on your game because but I don't think both of them is gonna be out there a whole lot at the same time type situation. I mean, they can.
If they're both hitting, then absolutely. But I think you're right. It's just gonna be we'll see who's got it right now.
So it's never bad adding more talented in more talent in the area that you need. With Bryce, departing and everything like that, you need all the help, all the scores you can get, whether that's shooting from half court, shooting from baseline, inbounding, I don't care.
Yeah, and when it comes to if you're gonna get him, the thing I'm doing with CJ and Sanford is we're shooting threes and you're playing defense.
That part.
If you're gonna hold on to that defensive culture, especially to your point, I don't think they'll play both either. But if you run into a situation where you like both of how they're shooting the ball and you want to play them both, you could say that's two defensive liabilities right there on your starting five who, if you want to give up a comeback, that's a good way to do it. A lot of teams that go downhill on those two who just don't quite have the size or athleticism to deal with it. The other part of that is Rink Mass coming back, big deal. Now you have possibly, what do you decide here? Burke, Bear, Eucton back as well, and Rink Mass. Is that a 4-5? Do you sub one in for the other? Where would you set those two up?
Would I be crazy if I put Mask at the 3? Like I would say 3-4. Him and you can just have him kind of rove around a little bit, pick and pop, and then you can go back and forth between him and the big guy down low. You can play whatever. If you sag off on Mask, I mean he can make the easy 2 right then and there. Playmaking ability. He's gonna find where the open hole is at, and he gives you the ability to knock down the outside shot. So I don't know if 4 is quite it with his lower injury coming back. That's a lot of banging and bruising.
Who's going to play the 4 and 5 though is the problem. If you're going to put him out on the 3,
you got to go out and get somebody to play 4. I mean, I don't want to say he's too small. Like I know he can do it and everything like that. It's a matchup, maybe on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, it could turn bad. Just what the size is in the Big Ten, and that's kind of what you kind of don't want. I feel like with him being what he is, at that 3, he can kind of do things a little bit more if he wants to go down into the paint and everything like that. He has the ability to kind of take advantage of that and still can play defense on the other side.
Yeah, you're not entirely wrong. Yeah, mainly because we're just gonna have to wait and see is like half of the answer right there. I think, with Rink Mass, I'm assuming he's gonna be 100% healthy. I mean, the guy took a whole season off. The biggest part, just shaking off the rust. What does that look like? I like him. Just keep him at that 4, just because he does create those mismatches that we're kind of talking about. His ability to just pull guys out, especially if you do land Sanford. And if you got Sanford in there and he's shooting well, Esigen's in there, he's shooting well, and then all of a sudden you got Rink Mass who's able to pull the big out as well. Those lanes get pretty wide open for whoever we come in to replace Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary, whoever those slashers are going to be. You can have some nights where that offense is just wide open. Burke, I don't know if you can play that 5. So I'm kind of in the camp where, Rink, you're the 4. Let's go find a 5. Burke, you got to prove it in practice. Will you?
It's not. They're going to be definitely. It's gonna be a lot of plug and play. I'm not mad at that. Like I said, I can see, Mask at the 4. I wouldn't say you wrong with that. Like I said, I like his playmaking ability and his ability to create a mismatch with that. We have to see what else that they bring in to build to kind of piece together things.
Yeah, and we could I shouldn't say guarantee, but a center is certainly going to be high on that priority list.
Oh, it should be.
Losing Mia and Morgan. You have to. The high school classes as well. We've really struggled to get like in-state guys, and with the portal that goes on already, it's, Nebraska basketball's unfortunately just kind of been in this position where it's like developing good to be good for a few years and then just kind of resets over and over. Hopefully this is the year where, I don't want to say this last year was a reset. I think it did a good job. It was in the conversation, which, Nebraska basketball just really never is that late in the season.
They just didn't take care of business. I wouldn't say necessarily a reset. You had the pieces, you had the tangibles, you had the players, you were in games and everything like that. It wasn't consistent enough to get you over the hump. That's all it was.
I mean, they pissed it away, to be blunt. Like, you had the stretch there at the end where it's like you had some really easy home games. You got to win those. You dropped both of them. You had some opportunities to win really tough road games. You drop those, you get to Big Ten tournament play. No, you actually don't, because you just dropped all the ones right at the end there. And, the Nebraska basketball wasn't the only team to finish the season in a crashing way. Yeah. That stuff's going to happen. I still like Fred Hoiberg as the coach.
For sure.
What those centers come. And, I do like the addition of Sanford, though. I do think if you get him, we complained about this offense so much. We saw what he did against Nebraska. Like, your offense can look abysmal. He might give you 20 out of nowhere that can just help that offense do enough to get over the hump. And I mean, 3-point shooting is contagious. I don't care what you say. It just seems like as soon as you have one guy knocking down a few, all of a sudden everybody looks at that rim a little bit differently, and everybody's starting.
But that can get you in trouble too, because if you're not hitting and you just continue shooting, then you find yourself in situations to where you're putting yourself behind the ball. So hopefully, it's not live and die by the three, but it definitely helps and makes you a lot more dangerous, and people have to respect, the floor with your team out there. If you got, multiple guys that can knock down open threes or, contested threes.
Yeah, that's a good point. As we'll talk about the actual March Madness bracket on the last segment, like how many of these close games do we see where the teams who are known for 3-point shooting, you want to punch a wall at a certain point because there's like 3 minutes on the clock. They're down by 2. They take a 3. All of their last possessions, they're setting up for 3-point shots. And it's like, if one of you guys would just go downhill, I like your odds a lot more, especially when you have some of those teams that have just been abysmal from the 3-point line all night. But to your point, that's what their offense is known. That's how they operate, and they just refuse to go inside. So we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side of things as well, just the rest of that March Madness picture. Don't go anywhere. Don't punt Tower. Good morning, Pierson-El. Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a little bit.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK, make flying easy.
You need a urologist? At Urology Partners of Nebraska, we understand the urgency of your health. That's why we offer appointments within 48 hours. Although we're new to the community, our team brings years of experience and expertise to provide you with the best care possible. From vasectomies to kidney stones, we've got you covered for all your urology health concerns. Call 402-413-2800 today and experience the difference at Urology Partners of Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with the roof credit, 0% is standalone.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Muchachos has been serving Lincoln delicious pork, brisket, and chicken tacos for several years now, as well as Hatchmack, nachos, and more. Muchachos also brings you close to the taste buds of your favorite local college athletes with NIL deals like the B3 burrito for Bella Bacon of Nebraska softball and many more. See a variety of different NIL options at Muchachos at 11th and K, or order online at yomuchacho.com. Open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Be sure to check out the top-selling Recomp. Recomp helps build lean muscle and strength while decreasing body fat. Recomp is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Recomp can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies and it will be breezy. In the afternoon high around 67. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and light winds, a low near 57. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies and light winds. In the afternoon high around 67. I'm $80 is Kyle collected for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Hey, what are you talking about over there? Huh? I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, Don't Punt Hour. DeMornay Pierson-El, the co-host, as always, via stream. And let's wrap things up here with a little bit of March Madness, but on the women's side of things. Last year, pretty interesting. The first few rounds, definitely the guys' side gets more attention. I just think upsets are more possible. You look at the women's bracket, I'll be honest, round one, you're usually pretty bad. I mean, you're going to see some scores 120 to 50. It's usually not exhilarating basketball. But I will say, you get down to the stretch, to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, all of a sudden the basketball almost gets to that level. Well, I should say almost. It gets to that level where it's more entertaining to the men's. And, that's just the numbers saying it. Last year, the women's March Madness Championship actually drew in more viewers than the men's March Madness Championship. So, DeMornay Pierson-El, do you expect that trend to continue? Is kind of the real question, because obviously Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins just tore her ACL as well, which
wishing her a speedy recovery. That's never easy. That hurts the sport more so than anything, because that UConn SC matchup, I think a lot of people had that circled.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be as high as it was last year, just because of all the superstars. Because you had every team, I think once you got to the Sweet 16, just about, or right before that, had at least somebody where they were talking about them consistently across their sport. It's not as strong. It's not as strong as it was last year. I still think they'll do good numbers. Still think it'll be competitive. It's not the same. I think with the loss of Juju, that takes a lot of the sale out of things, because week in and week out stuff was just starting to build up even more, and she was chasing Cheryl Miller. His legacy pretty much, at sea with things and whatnot. It was always a story with that, and not to say that there's not going to be with these other girls, but you don't have the LSU. You still got some people at LSU. I'm not going to say you don't, but it's a little bit different than when Angel Reese was there. The talking back and forth, the aggressiveness. You still got South Carolina still in the mix of things and whatnot. They're gonna be out there and handle things. So it's not gonna be terrible. I just don't think you have as much star power as you did last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of where the Juju Watkins just really major blow. I mean, that's you can make an argument like the biggest superstar.
Paige is going to be nice, but Paige is still going to, do her own thing. South Carolina,
and Haley Van Lith out there as well. She's been tearing it up this season. So you still got some stars, but I think I think Juju Watkins might have been one of the biggest ones, or at least, again, when you talk about like last year, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark was so good because, it was a rivalry that was just naturally brewing. Somewhat, the media making it. The other one, I mean, let's be real, LSU and Iowa, there was some animosity there. You saw it on
for
the court,
sure,
and that's what makes that stuff fun to watch. Is those two teams really don't want to lose to each other. You had a little bit of this as well, but unfortunately now, because Juju Watkins, you're always going to have the argument. That's not right or wrong. It's just the fact of things. It's going to be okay, what if, especially if they end up losing, what if she was healthy? You're not going to see necessarily, a head-on collision matchup that we were kind of eyeballing last year. I think the numbers will be better. Will they be the same as last year? That's just going to be hard to do. It's, you also just credit. That's what happens when you have people like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, just that loaded of a class. So that South Carolina, that entire team.
Cordosa, she was banging. She was getting it in. They had a few, and I think I can't remember her name. I know she was a freshman last year. She's probably their best player this year. She's a star. She's a star rising. It's going to continue to go up from here from her. So it's going to be exciting to still watch. It just it's sad that you want to see Juju in the mix to where it's the best of the best, and you can kind of lay all your cards out there and see how they go at it, because they get scrappy, they get chippy. For the coaches, they get involved in things and whatnot. So it's not, I think what game was it last year where somebody's brother jumped on the court or something like that. So it's entertaining. They get after it. I don't mind the elbows.
Yeah, and then we also got one more off of YouTube here as we get out of here. What happened if Paige Beckers didn't blow her ACL twice? Again, talking about the what ifs. How many titles could have UConn won? It's a great question. And I don't know. That's a segment for another time.
I don't know, because South Carolina was dominant. LSU is just a different ball. Not to take anything away from her. She still came back and still did what she needed to do. But I think South Carolina, in the past 5 years, they may have lost 4 or 5, maybe 6 games at most, if that. I mean, they at one point in time, I think they averaged 1 loss every other year or something like that. So, and they got some oak trees. They weren't little at all. They had some tall people in there.
Yeah, that's why I've got so much respect for Dawn Staley as well for what she does, because it just does not matter the type of athlete she is in there. They just reload. Well, and they work too. Like, it's very clear she's just got total control over that program. Like, you'll hear negative stories come out of this school. Not Dan Staley's team. That team's like locked in, ready to go.
They know not to play that. They know not to try that.
Yeah. So again, I'll be more talking about the women's side of things. Always a fan watching South Carolina just because the program they have there, as well as the other athletes. Up to the WNBA now. Make those next steps as well. Can they build up their audience the same way that the women's college side is doing things? That's going to do it for us, though. Striking up a conversation. A couple Husker Bowlers up next.